Good evening. Current time is 9:16. Go ahead and pop in chat if you guys can hear me okay. We're going to hang out for a bit. Let me know where you're watching from. We're going to hang out and kind of watch webcams together and kind of see just what's going on with the Aurora tonight. We'll go over some updates. Also, we have some storms pushing into the western UP. So I know Joel's tracking those behind the scenes here tonight. But in the meantime, I am here tracking the northern light potential. So we got Gibbs, we got Julie, Brian. I hate the new update where it shows your guys' username now on YouTube. On Facebook, it is still your names. But on YouTube, all I see is the @ and then like your username. So all I see is like a name and a bunch of numbers. So it makes it a little bit harder to distinguish who's who. So hi from Dexter, Belding, Berkeley, Galesburg, Detroit, Southgate, Lake City, Coastal, North Carolina. Welcome in. Hamburg, Bay City, Southgate again. All right. Well, let's go ahead and talk about some updates for tonight. So last night let's go ahead and start with last night. We had the solar storm anticipated to hit. It hit around 4:30 p.m. yesterday, and there is a component in the Aurora. It's called the BZ, and that's your measure of north to south. When it's a positive number, that means Aurora is being bottled up close to the North Pole. It's having a hard time coming further south. So when we have a positive BZ number, that's not good for the Aurora in Michigan. Now, when that number flips to negative, that is good for Aurora in Michigan. So unfortunately, all last night, or pretty much all of last night, we had positive BZ. So we didn't really get a good south push of the Aurora yesterday. So we go all the way until sunrise, and just around noon or so today, just before noon our time, the north-south field flipped from north to the south and has been south all day long. The only problem now is we're about 24 to 36 hours after the solar storm has arrived. So now we're getting to the end of that solar storm. So we're in the very final stages of that storm. I'll go ahead and bring in the data sheet here. This is the current data from the SWPC, the Space Weather Prediction Center. We see our BZ right now is -2. It was earlier today -10, -13, -9. Like it was pretty good. That's a good number. But now we're slowly closing off the strength of the magnetic field, and that is weakening the Aurora. But still, we have a lot of juice built up. So there's a lot of energy out there. That's not going to take much to get this Aurora back going. So tonight, if you live in northern Michigan, we're going to say Mount Pleasant, around Mount Pleasant and points northward, you have the best chance to see Aurora at any time tonight. If you live south of Mount Pleasant, you're going to have to rely on what's called a substorm. A substorm is a lot of built up energy in the Aurora. It releases all at once, and it makes it more vibrant. It dances. It becomes more colorful for a very brief period of time. So we track substorms in real time. It's called the magnetometer or magnetometer. I can't never get that word right. But we have a chart here that measures substorms in real time. So I am going to tune into this chart pretty much all night, as well as our webcams, to kind of see what's happening out there. Right now, we're tracking that red line. That is GOES 19 satellite. When that red line starts dropping, we get close to that 50 or below range. So you see the numbers over here on the left side. We get close to 50 or below. Ideally, the lower you go, the better. And we see a quick release where this line shoots straight up. When that line shoots straight up, that's what's called a substorm. That's how you know it's time to go look for the Aurora. So right now, we are watching for this red line to spike straight up, and right now it's kind of like a waiting game. So until that happens, it's a waiting game. In the meantime, though, we do have multiple webcams, and we have a surprise webcam tonight. Harbor Beach. This one has been online for since almost 8 months now. The problem is in the summer months, it's at the marina in Harbor Beach. They have a lot of security lights that are here, and it's blinded us throughout the summer months for the Aurora watching. But tonight, for some odd reason, that floodlight is having issues, and currently it's off. So we're going to have a good view potentially at Harbor Beach here once we get dark enough. And you can actually kind of see on the right hand side of the screen, at least earlier, I personally still see a little bit of a faint pinkish red color there. So perhaps some distant aurora showing up already here on the Harbor Beach camera. We're going to wait till it gets a little darker to confirm that, but it seems to be out in central and northern portions of Michigan, at least on camera. So fingers are crossed. We're going to wait and see what happens there. And as always, you can go over to our YouTube channel called Michigan Weather Network. We have several live cameras operating tonight. So if you guys want to tune in, you are welcome to. We have Norway, we have Cedarville, we have Allen, to name a few. And I will be watching all 9 of our Aurora cameras tonight, and we'll post updates as needed. The bad news is our Norway camera. It has a lot of rain up there. Not a lot, but it's cloudy. So we're not going to have a good view tonight from Norway. And speaking of cloudy and raininess, I want to mention this real quick. Joel's watching this behind the scenes, but if we kind of zoom out here, there's a UP of Michigan. We have a severe warning about a county or two away in Wisconsin. We're going to track this very carefully, but if this continues to push its way east-southeastward, we may have small potential for a brief, strong, perhaps severe storm up in Gogebic or Ontonagon counties. So we're going to watch this carefully. But right now, we're still about a half hour to an hour away. Just want to mention this. Western UP may have a stronger storm or two pushing in about a half hour to an hour. Okay. In the meantime, though, we have 9 Aurora cameras pulled up here. The Cedarville camera, I want to mention that as well. Sorry, this is not the right one. Cedarville is going to be up here. This one came in clutch last night watching for the Aurora. It's actually where my face is. On the right side, bottom right of the screen is where it showed up on camera. So I am going to move myself over to the left side of the screen. And we're going to watch this one as well. We're still in twilight, so it's not completely dark yet. So we're not going to get the full effect here for a little while longer. And once we do hit that full night, I'm going to switch these cameras over into night mode. It kind of cleans the image up a little bit. We'll go from there. But in the meantime, it's a waiting game. So questions, guys, feel free to pop them in chat. I'll be on here for at least a few minutes discussing and talking with you guys. I think the best chance to see something on webcams right now is going to be Harbor Beach, and that's only because that security light at the marina is turned off at the current moment. So we'll see what we see here in a few minutes. And before I take any questions, I do want to say there's a new warning that has been issued from, I believe, Duluth. It's down closer to the border of Michigan, but still off to the west by about a county. They're warning the storm over here for wind up to 60. So we're going to watch that very carefully. Not expecting any severe weather tonight, but hey, can never rule it out on these summer type days. All right. Anything Elk Rapids? Not at this time. Not at this time. It's still in that period where it's enough light to cause some issues and kind of damper seeing the aurora. But if we get another half hour or so, we should have a much better idea in terms of how it's looking out there. But right now, there's nothing substantial happening that we can tell. Better tonight than last night. Cindy, it is a decent chance tonight if you live in northern Michigan and have clear skies. Southern and central parts of Michigan, we're going to have to rely on substorms. A substorm is what happens when a lot of energy gets built up and it releases all at once. It turns into a bright, vibrant show, brief, but vibrant show. And that pushes it further south temporarily. So South Michigan, you'll have likely a chance here soon. By soon, I mean hour, 2 hours, maybe. Substorms are never really exact. They just kind of happen. But right now, we do have some energy built up. The magnetometer is at 63. which is okay. I want to see that below 50 for a stronger substorm, but and there's that light trying to pop back on. We'll see if it manages. It's like a disco party there. All right, so the camera on your screen, Aubrey asked, where all the cameras? The camera on your screen's in Harbor Beach. These are all in Michigan. The next one we have is in Ludington, courtesy of the Ludington JC's Mini Golf. This is also facing north on Lake Michigan. We have the good old Manistee camera. This is on the Hampton Inn up in Manistee, facing due north. The Norway Mountain Ski Resort camera up in Dickinson County, I believe it is, in the UP. And I believe in the very far bottom right of your screen are fireworks. It appears there's fireworks going on. That is exactly what that is. Interesting. We have the Allegan camera. This faces due north at Cole Concrete. So this actually, it didn't really register anything last night. There was a faint glow, but it wasn't anything substantial. But this is an Aurora camera. It is in southern Michigan, so we'll keep an eye on that just in case. We have the Allen camera over in Hillsdale County, courtesy of the Marble Springs Campground. And then we have the Cedarville camera up in the UP, eastern UP, courtesy of Cedarville Marine and Flotation Docking Systems. So those are the 9. Sorry, missed one. There is a Aurora camera in Grand Blanc at Apex Restoration facing north. So those are the Aurora cameras we have. We have 9, and they're all pointing north. So we'll see. Last night was brilliant in Oscoda. Do you think tonight will be just as likely? As of right now, probably not as brilliant as you saw last night. I do think potential is there for a brief substorm, which we really didn't see much of last night. But tonight, I think there's a chance we could see a brief, vibrant show across perhaps all of Michigan, but definitely central and northern Michigan. Yeah, so on the horizon here, I'm watching that southern part really carefully too. So we'll see what happens here. I'm going to give another 30 minutes or so. It's only 9:30, so we got a few more minutes left here before we enter pitch black. Will Howell be too far south? I'm going to say yes initially. If we get a substorm, and again, that's a big if, it could be a statewide event. Brief, but it could be. What about tomorrow? So due to the nature of this solar storm, tomorrow's chances are very low. However, if we fast forward 3 or 4 days out, we are expecting what's called a high-speed stream to impact Earth due to a coronal hole on the sun. That may give us potential for more aurora, probably not on a large-scale event, but perhaps central and northern Michigan, more aurora in about 3 or 4 or 5 or so days. The webcam page is called Michigan Weather Network. It is on YouTube only. We have 11 cameras that are live currently there. Go ahead and pop this in for you guys to see it. There we go. This is what it looks like. You hit the live tab. It's going to take you to all of our live cameras that we have currently going. And then if you wanted to decipher aurora versus weather, we have labeled those that are going to be able to see the aurora. So Allen's one, Cedarville is one, Norway is one, and then Manistee is one. But Manistee is not rolling tonight. I was doing that one manually yesterday. We have to install extra equipment at these locations. So some of these locations have the equipment and others don't. So we're working on getting them installed. Give us some time. But Manistee will be live in the future, as well as Harbor Beach here. Actually, Harbor Beach will be going live, sneak peek, on Friday. Planning on Friday to have a live stream set up for Harbor Beach. So you guys can watch this camera coming soon. We also have a second camera. I'm not going to say where, but also a second camera that's going to be live as well. New one coming up in the Thumb, Michigan. So we're excited about that. That's also coming Friday. Yeah, there's nothing happening right now on camera. These cameras are super super powerful. So if we're not seeing anything strong right now at Harbor Beach or in Manistee or in Cedarville, it's likely not very strong right now. So I'd highly doubt anybody seeing anything south of Mount Pleasant currently. Cedarville would be our camera in the UP. Let's go ahead and switch over to that one. And I think it's dark enough where I am going to switch this camera over into night mode. So give me 1 second. I'm gonna see if I can do this manually here on my phone. Usually I do it on my computer, but because I can do it on my phone, I'm gonna try to just switch this. I believe we're getting some color there on the bottom right of your screen. I'm seeing a little bit of color popping up there. Let's see if I can switch this and make it a little bit clearer for us. Okay, here we go. I'm going to try to switch this. It may mess the camera up for about a second or two. Let's see what happens. There we go. Give it a second to adjust. Okay. This camera is now in night mode. All right. There's one camera. We'll switch the other ones here as needed. I have not switched Harbor Beach into night mode before because I haven't had the need to do it. We may have to tonight. In fact, I'm kind of debating whether we you know what? I'm just going to do it. I have not messed with the settings on Harbor Beach yet, but I'm going to try to make the image a little clearer and see if I can clear up some of that horizon color for you. Awesome, Aubrey. Good news. What's up, Bernadette? This webcam on your screen currently is at Harbor Beach, which is up in the thumb of Michigan. The one before that was Cedarville. Cedarville is up in Mackinac County in the UP, eastern UP to be exact. So if you know where Mackinac the bridge is at, drive over it and then go east about 25, 50 miles or so, I want to say. It may not be even that. Yeah, about 20 miles or so east of the Mackinac Bridge. All right, let's see what happens here with the Harbor Beach camera. I'm going to start playing with the settings here. I know what settings I use, but it's probably going to be really combobulated for a minute. Is that even a word? Discombobulated, I think is what I meant to say. Okay. Let's see if that does anything. Give it a second to adjust here. Are we ever going to see the Aurora through the naked eye again in Southeast Michigan? Sean, good question. And the answer is it's definitely a lot harder. Last year we were very spoiled, very, very spoiled. So it's possible we see it again, yes, but it's going to be very, very hard to get a big storm like we had last year. Those are like the May 10th event of last year. If you're referring to that, that was a once in a 20-year event for reference. So I think that actually cleared up pretty nice. What do you guys think? Discombobulate. I didn't know exactly how to pronounce that. I knew the word, I just didn't know how to say it. Yeah, that this came out nice and clear. Yeah, we were spoiled last year. We were really spoiled with the Aurora. So this year is more reality. I think we saw it statewide probably like 4, 5, 6, 7 times last year. And this year we've seen it statewide on camera, but there hasn't been really any spectacular shows that have occurred. So the Manistee cam as well as the Ludington cameras are a little clouded over, unfortunately. So I think our best bet is to stick with Cedarville and Harbor Beach. And right now, there's not much happening on either one. Total darkness should be in about 20 or so minutes. Not this time, Tim. Not that I know of. All the webcams are pretty silent. There could be a very faint glow on the horizon here, but nothing spectacular that's going to wow your socks off to go out and look at it. And also, the moon is brighter tonight. It will still set between, I want to say, about 1 o'clock in the morning or so, but it is brighter tonight. Yeah, October, I believe that was a G4 storm. That's more common than G5. G5 is the highest we can get. That's what we had May 10th. But G4 storms, they are more common, but again, they're still pretty rare. This storm that we experienced last night, I don't believe hit G3. I think this is a solid G2, which is still statewide. G2 is when you get the statewide viewing potential. But you got to keep in mind as well, I keep saying G2, G3. That's basically just communicating how strong the solar storm is measured, but that's all really based on a 3-hour index. So sometimes you can get what is happening on the camera. Sometimes you can get brief periods of higher values of KP or G levels. But the actual official KP index in G levels, that's all based on the average strength of 3 hours. So it's not really real time. Where is my house? I am not going to answer that. I don't know, Matt, if it is or not. Last year was a first. Would love to see it tonight in Coldwater. There is potential, but let's go and pull up the data again. There is enough energy out there that we could definitely see a nice burst or a substorm. It's just a waiting game, and no one really knows when it's going to happen. It could be 30 minutes, could be 3 hours, could be 6 hours. That's just a waiting game with the Aurora. So when I switch these cameras into night mode, Void, I'm talking to you, it changes the exposure and the shutter settings. So it's a larger lens, but it's also a slower shutter to allow more light to pass through. So anything like a vehicle or people walking, it's going to be like a ghost, very slow moving. With the Aurora, though, it's always pretty slow moving, so it works out really nice. But night mode will always make things like a car or like a person walking or a bug flying slow motion. Yeah, that was a bug, more than likely a bug crawling on the lens. Rain in Marquette, that's accurate. If you're just tuning in, we are watching a line of storms actually up in the UP. There's actually a severe warning just across about a county or so over into Wisconsin. This storm is looking like it's going to dive more than likely south, but we do have this area up here pushing in toward Ontonagon and Gogebic counties. So western UP could be a couple stronger storms moving in. We're going to track that. If these do go severe in Michigan, I got to pop out of here ASAP. So I'll just end it just like that if we get a severe warning for Michigan. And then Joel will take over and do severe ops. But in the meantime, though, we're watching for the Aurora tonight. So you got me. Any questions, guys? Feel free to pop in chat. I am yours for a few more minutes. Nothing really on webcams to talk about of note at this current time. Let's go ahead and check in on Cedarville again. And not much happening up there either. There could be a very faint pink glow on the horizon, but it's not very distinct. I'll just kind of communicate that if these cameras aren't seeing anything at their locations, the odds are you're not going to see anything either. Anne says, hello from Charlevoix. Good evening, Anne. Welcome into the chat. It has been a while since our last live stream. It's been I want to say a few weeks, but that could be a vast overstatement. Are they located more on one part of the state over others? Are you talking about our webcams, Mary? I do have a map of all the webcams I can pull up if you're referring to those. What's up, Tara from Ann Arbor? Good to see you in chat. Yesterday in Charlevoix, we had Northern Lights. Thanks for what you do. Yeah, that's awesome. That is awesome. The Aurora currently, it's gonna be better on the east side right now if there's anything happening, because the west side's still a little bit lighter. The west side has about 15 or so more minutes of daylight than the east side. So as the sun sets, yes, it'll be better in the east side of the state, but gradually get better in the west until the sun is completely down. Currently, at this time, we are live on only Facebook and YouTube, but we also stream to X and Twitch during severe weather. This was a secondary platform. This is our backup platform we use to stream on, so I only have Facebook and YouTube connected. So yeah, overall, just joining us, you are not missing anything currently. There is a chance for the Aurora tonight. That is a spider. That is 110% a spider. But yeah, there is a chance for the Aurora tonight, primarily up in the northern and central parts of Michigan. There's potential for brief substorms. Those are brief bursts where the Aurora flares up, becomes more vibrant, colorful, and more active. Usually lasts 5 to 20 minutes or so. So that's going to be what we bet on in southern Michigan to see anything tonight. So it's a big gamble. If you're going to drive somewhere to try and view it, I would say tonight's probably not the night to do that. It's not a high chance, but there's a chance we could see something nonetheless. I know a lot of you guys want to see it, so a lot of you do stay up a little bit later just to see if you can see something. But tonight's not really a night to dedicate a lot of time to go out and drive, unless you're in like the UP or very far northern Michigan. Then I'd say try it. But as of right now, data is decent, but webcams are pretty quiet. So not much happening out there at this current time, which is 9:45 Eastern. I can see both chats at the same time. I can see Facebook and I can see YouTube. What's up, Aaron? We got our storm chaser, Aaron, one of our partner chasers here in chat, saying good evening. It is pretty dark in Milan. Yeah, it's pretty dark out there. what time are we thinking? The Aurora never really follows a time schedule. We can kind of track in real time. I'm watching this, what we call magnetometer or magnetometer. And this will tell us when substorms or those bursts will happen, as noted by when you see the red line shoot straight up. I'm not talking like a little zigzag up. I'm talking like a big line that goes up. So until we see that happening, we're not going to know. If we see it falling, that's a good sign. That means energy is building. When it goes straight up, that means that's the release of the energy, and that's when we have a burst. Right now, it's pretty stable. I'm hoping this continues on a downtrend. Hopefully get below 50. Below 50 is a decently strong substorm. We get close to 25 or below 25, that's a really strong substorm. So right now we're at 61. If we go straight up, we could have a brief burst, but it's just anybody's guess. So asking what time is kind of, it's a moot point until we see this happen. Have we talked about Wednesday? Yeah, not really. We have not talked about Wednesday. I was looking at some models earlier this morning, and I would not be shocked to see a few gusty storms tomorrow. And I think the biggest headline, though, for the week is going to be Friday. We're going to look at wind gusts, perhaps upwards of 40 to 50 mile per hour across much of the state. So Friday may be quite gusty in nature. I think we put a post out, a kind of funny post saying we made to break out the window meter for tomorrow or for Friday. But honestly, for tomorrow, would not be shocked to see a few gusty storms across specifically the lower peninsula of Michigan. Not this time, Mary. Nothing in Wayne County. There's really nothing happening on webcams anywhere in Michigan currently. There could be a faint glow here. It's just very hard to tell. And then the Cedarville camera would be the one furthest north. That doesn't have, much of anything on it. So for reference, I will do something here to compare. This was last night. And you can see that is what faint aurora on the horizon look like. And if we speed this up here, is this actually, this is not what I wanted actually. For some reason, it's not what I wanted. I was hoping to show you guys the time where it flared up, but this is not the right video. Thought it was, but it's not. So let me do this. Let me go to this, go to here, go to this. I guess this one. No, that's not that. This one, maybe. This one. Yeah, here we go. Let's do this. That again is not the right one. Why is this not working? Maybe it's this one. This is the one. So if we go forward into, we're going to say about 10:15 or so, this is what it should look like on camera, on the camera in Cedarville. That's what it was during the height of yesterday's storm. And that was seen as far south as the Ohio border on camera. So that's what it should look like when there's aurora on the horizon. And currently we're seeing this. So you can see the difference. Just not much happened out there tonight. The exposure on the cameras are at their lowest setting. At least for most of them are. If there's other ambient light, we kind of adjust it per the setting, but we do crank the exposure down. All right. Any other questions, guys? There's just not a lot happening out there right now. And I don't see any more questions that are filtering in chat, so I might pop out of here in a second. All eyes are going to be on the substorm tracker, I'm going to call it. And if anything happens, we'll post on the page. Yeah, there's a lot of bugs on the camera tonight, that's for sure. Yeah, the Aurora will always be more visible in a camera lens. It's just kind of trying to think of a good word to put it, but the human eye is not as good as a camera lens, so it will always be more vibrant through a lens. Laura, not at this current time. We are waiting potentially for a brief burst that may push it further south, but right now that does not appear to be imminent. We'll see. How long is the peak of solar activity supposed to go on for? Years? So, Sean, good question. A typical solar cycle is about 7 years. We definitely peaked last year, and this year has been pretty much really quiet in comparison. So, I think we're kind of on a decline down to solar minimum. It's gonna suck, honestly. We're not gonna have much in the way of aurora activity at all. So enjoy it while you can, even though sometimes it's frustrating. But we're definitely going to be downtrending over the next couple of years. So, yeah, Gary, that's a great way to put it. The human eye can't do long exposure, cameras can. Yeah, that is very true. It's just limitation of being a human. That's all it is. But there are definitely some events that can and will be seen with the naked eye. Like it's not always going to be on camera. Like, for example, we had several events last year, October 10th, September 12th, May 10th, just to name a few, that had naked eye, vibrant, greens, pinks, purples, reds. So it's going to still happen. It's just on camera, it will always be more vibrant. Like last night, for example, I was up in the Thumb and pulled off and I was looking, couldn't see anything with my eyes, but my camera was able to get that. So I couldn't see anything, but my camera could pick it up. So it's there. Just sometimes it's just so faint you can't see it. Yeah, August 11th, another one there. Yeah, we had several good events last year. We were spoiled. I keep saying it. We were spoiled. We really were. But this year has been a lot quieter. So hopefully going into the fall season, fall is typically better for the Aurora. So we'll see if the fall season can bring us some better chances. Fingers are crossed. But in the meantime, not much happening as of 9:55. So this camera, unfortunately, is not live, but I will say Cedarville camera is live over on our network YouTube. We also have the Allen camera, which is live. This is all the way on the Ohio border, essentially, in Hillsdale County, very bottom tier counties in Michigan. This one is looking north, and obviously it's way too far south to see anything. But Cedarville's on there, Allen's on there, and I think that is it for the live cameras tonight for the Aurora. In the future, we're going to have Harbor Beach on there. We're going to have Manistee. We're going to have Ludington. We have several more to add to. But like I said before, we're waiting on some equipment to be installed to be able to stream it. until we have that equipment installed, we can't stream unless we do it manually. I could set up a screen share and just kind of let it run, which is what I did yesterday for Manistee. But until we get those get equipment installed, it's just we can't stream everything at once, unfortunately. So Toby, thank you for the month number 4 of membership here. Asking what the low temperature is like for Sunday. Toby, where are you at in Michigan? If you're in the UP, it's a totally different question and answer than if you were in the south part of Michigan. So let me know where you're from or whereabouts you're from, and I can answer from there. Jackson County. So let's go ahead and pull up good old models, ensemble models for Jackson County on Sunday. Now, you're talking Saturday night, you're talking Sunday night. Let's be more specific with this. I give you answers for both. Saturday night into Sunday morning, you're looking at mid 40s. And for Sunday night into Monday morning, you're looking at low to mid 40s. So I got 44 for a low. And that's for Saturday. And I got 43 for a low Sunday night into Monday. So pretty cold. Yeah, so you're looking at 43, Toby, for your Monday morning. You bet. All right, well, it is 9:57 p.m., and I think that there is just not much going on right now. Potential still exists throughout the evening for some activity. Right now, I'm just not seeing it. If that changes, we'll post about it on the page. But so far, I cannot confirm anything happening in the UP or down in the LP. So with that said, I will say one more time, we are tracking a line of storms that is pushing into the western UP momentarily. So in the event one of these storms does come severe, you're going to see Joel, perhaps myself, on here once again later on this evening. But we don't anticipate this being severe. But hey, it's Michigan. We can never really say that with certainty. Excuse me. Say no severe with certainty. So with that said, the streaks you see on the camera, Alex, yes, they are usually bugs or planes. Because the exposure setting is long exposure, you're going to see it kind of like a trail, and it's just the way the camera is. It looks weird, but it's just bugs. Cameras can be accessed. Some of the cameras can be accessed at Michigan Weather Network on YouTube. Yes, this live stream is going to end, but again, some webcams are still live. We have currently, I think, 11 or 12 that are live currently over there. And I think out of those 11 or 12, 4 or 5 are Aurora cameras. So Cedarville should be live. Norway's live. And Allen's live. Grand Blank should be live, but I believe it's on the South Cam tonight. So, all right. I'm going to pop out of here, guys. You guys enjoy your evening. I'll post on the page in the event stuff is popping off later on tonight. So fingers are crossed, and we will see you guys next time.